Welcome into the Fantasy Addicts Fantasy Football Podcast. We are streaming live on Twitch.
We'll do it live!
I am your host, Mike the Fantasy Addict, with co-host Nikki the Birthday Boy, Nikki B.
That's me.
Happy birthday, sir. How old are you?
According to Brittany's parents, 33.
33.
But 32 is the right answer.
Oh, congratulations. They just add a year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they think I look older, or is it more mature?
Just the soul and energy of a 62-year-old.
Thank you.
There you go.
My cardigans appreciate that comment.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen them with many a vest.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
All right, tonight we are talking free agency. So we are the Fantasy Addicts, and we have your free agent fix tonight.
Indeed.
All right,
who's first
to talk about. Before we jump into it, just a reminder, if you're checking us out on the YouTubes, go ahead and hit that like.
You like that? You like that?
You can go ahead, like it 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
I think just the once, right?
All right, well, one follow and then one subscribe.
Well, once per account.
There you go. There you go. Log in with all your burner accounts. But yeah, also, if you're watching on Twitch, feel free to jump in the chat. We'd be happy to hear from you if you got any free agents you want to hear about. We will probably cover them. There are a couple that didn't make the list, but let's get it going. Let's start off. So this is the final day to franchise tag your players in the
3
NFL.
p.m. Yeah.
So we are recording this on March 9th, and we got a couple that were tagged. So let's talk about those to start. How about we've got...
I mean, you're wearing the Bears shirt. We might as well.
We'll just open up with the Bears.
We might as well just open that door.
Right,
get it out of the way.
A bear-friendly podcast.
That is true.
So let's do it.
Go Bears!
Go Bears.
Bears, franchise tag, Allen Robinson, wide receiver. Yeah. And now the question, there's a couple questions that arise. So you got your kind of wide receiver one going into the season. We'll see how he reacts. The kind of reports are that he wasn't real happy with the team going into the situation. But I think one thing that could change that would make that all better would be a new quarterback.
I agree. Well, I think the first question is, do they immediately trade him? I shouldn't say immediately.
Also, yeah. So you're in the ballpark of, do you kind of re-sign him to a different contract?
What do you think the likelihood of him being traded is?
I'd put it at less than 50%. I'd probably put it, 30-40% chance that he gets traded.
I would agree. We kind of mentioned on the last show, but Ryan Pace has to make a splash move. Schefter reported yesterday that the Bears are the most desperate team in the NFL for a quarterback, which I think is obvious. Ryan Pace knows, hey, if I don't do something now, it's never. Happy birthday, Nick. Thank you very much in the chat.
Who we thought they were.
Howdy. Welcome in, Banjo. Welcome in. We have been for the last 80 years, says Greg. Indeed. Thanks, Banjo. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think they trade him because I think they're going to make a move for a quarterback. One way or another, I don't know if it's going to be Carr or Fitzmagic or Jameis Winston. God forbid, it's not going to be Foles.
Well, they didn't pick up the 5-year extension for Mitchell Trubisky.
Big Mama's handing out biscuits, baby!
So he becomes a free agent that we can kind of discuss going forward in the episode.
Pocketpool says if Wilson goes to the Bears, Robinson won't want to leave.
Yeah, no, I think that a lot of things get healed up real quick with Robinson's situation if they bring in a quarterback that's going to throw him the ball.
That's the best Band-Aid ever.
Yeah, and a lot of people out there, and kind of one of his complaints going into last year, you didn't hear I hate the team, I'm mad about this or that. It was I want to compete for a ring. He knows that.
Correct.
He just hasn't had that great quarterback yet. A lot of people out there, if you're watching shows, they want to see him get his opportunity with somebody.
I mean, really, if you take the whole league, you played for the Jags and the Bears with very subpar caliber quarterbacks. I guess Trubisky wasn't the worst, but he's not good by any means. And you still put up top 5, 7, 10 numbers every season that you weren't hurt.
This is my nightmare.
You got to give him credit.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens with the quarterback situation. We'll talk about the quarterback free agencies, but let's stay on the wide receivers for now. Godwin, another guy that he also was franchise tagged by his team, the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers. Mm-hmm. And Gronk, not yet a deal, but you imagine that he'll be back. He'll be back. I see Tampa Bay, a lot of those guys coming back. I know that in Dynasty you just traded for Antonio Brown.
I did. Well, I thought there was an odds-on shot that they just let Chris Godwin go.
Okay.
I didn't think that was out of the realm of possibility. And then if he's gone, Gronk's another year older. They relied on Antonio Brown in the playoffs. I could see him being a fairly consistent wide receiver too, with some high upside. Because in that offense, you don't know game to game who's going to be the go-to target for Brady, which is unfortunate. But
yeah, he's on the wrong side of 30, but he came in pretty quickly without getting any kind of camp and just jumped in. I know Tom likes him, and yeah, really honestly, I think finally it's just one of those teams where you just wait for teams like just listen to your franchise quarterback who's great at winning and do the things that he wants to do.
Are we talking about Galladay or are we talking about
Aaron
Gronk
Rodgers
now?
has to just be looking at
Now
Tom
we're going to talk
Brady
about Aaron Jones.
and Tampa Bay doing everything he asks and just like, can I get just any wide receiver ever?
For sure.
Funchess re-signed for less money with the Green Bay Packers, who opted out last year. So
Pocket says, I saw on Twitter that Brady might want OBJ in Tampa. I saw that report as well. I don't think it's going to happen. You'd have to trade a lot still, I think.
There's probably only a handful of people that OBJ would kind of listen to and actually give some respect.
Yeah.
And, Tom, he just has that kind of clout where Antonio Brown.
Well, I mean, that's going to become a full house with Antonio Brown there. I'm sure.
It's a nut house.
I'm sure Josh Gordon's on his way there soon. I mean,
who knows
else?
what he's bringing with him? But
Steve the Great, Godwin, Galladay, Robinson should all be free agents, right? No. Two of them, one of them, only one of them now. Hasn't done anything in a few years. That's true.
So
OBJ only had really one really good season that he missed 4 games of, and then the second season he was pretty good. Really, outside of that, he hasn't been stellar, and he's been.
He had that one phenomenal falling back one-handed catch that I think is just in everybody's mind. That's what you think of.
I don't know how much fantasy football you played at that time, but
I know he was good for a while.
His rookie campaign, you could have picked him up off waivers in week 3 or 4,
and then won it for
and then he was wide receiver 1, 2, or 3 the rest of the season. It was crazy.
Yep.
It was crazy. Good times.
So the next guy on the list that we're going to look at, he was probably in the top 3 of wide receivers who could become, out there on the market and available. Kenny Galladay.
Yep.
For the Detroit Lions. They do not franchise Kenny G, so he is going to be on the move.
For sure.
That whole team kind of in rebuild mode a little bit right now.
And I saw the Lions signed Tyrell Williams. Did you see that?
Yeah, Williams, former Raider. It doesn't move the needle a lot. I think he's going to end up a depth piece more than a real kind of usable piece.
He had a little bit of value at the beginning of the year, actually, and then kind of fell off. And
he's had multiple injuries over the past couple of years.
Yeah, Galladay is an interesting piece. Give me a spot that you'd like to see.
Kenny G, I think that there are a lot of areas where he could actually fit in pretty well. I think that
like the Bears number 2,
the New York Giants are one that they could do it. The Bears would be interesting. Kenny G is from went to college at NIU, Northern Illinois University, my alma mater. So there's some links to
back
the
home
area.
tour.
Yeah, he would kind of fit the system. The Bears
Kenny
could
G
definitely
anywhere besides the hospital room.
Yeah, well, and coming off an injury that wonder how hesitant he was to really push himself coming back because he knew he was going to be a free agent. It had that feel to it.
He seems like a Bengal already.
There you go. That'd be an interesting landing spot for him. Overall, again, the Jets, if they decided that they wanted to he's probably the best option for a wide receiver you could go pay for.
Sure. Him and Corey Davis are really the only ones I think worth noting that are available, especially at the high end of the market.
I've got a couple more on the list that I think are kind of in that tier. But
I think any of the wide receiver spots. Miami, I think he'd be very interesting. The Jets for sure, he'd be compelling there. Buffalo Bills, I don't think they would sign him, but he'd be a phenomenal number 2.
San Diego's interesting. Again, Mike Williams, I believe, is a free agency. When I was looking through the list, I didn't see him popping up very much. People not too excited about
Raiders.
Mike Williams. The Raiders are one. The other one I thought, the Jacksonville Jaguars actually have a lot of money, and if they want to get Trevor a new toy.
I actually like that call.
So that's something that I'd be probably excited just, for that.
If he goes,
it would ruin Shark to an extent.
I think Shark is already ruined. I think this is the
Not
get out
yet.
time.
If you can sell before they sign someone, that makes sense because they do have a lot of cap space.
I'd be looking to
of
get
money.
rid of Shark by the NFL draft.
Oh, I'm sorry, LA. All right, so
The Chargers.
All right.
You mean the Rams? I don't think you can't put Galladay and Stafford back together on the Rams.
Diego.
And you're already paying Kupp and Woods like longer term. That's why they keep drafting cheaper ones. Yeah, he meant the Chargers.
And they got Van Jefferson, a rookie who I like. They kind of used him a little bit. All right, moving down the list. So the next guy, that was the first tier I had, was A-Rob, Godwin, Kenny G. And the next tier I've got here are kind of the high upside. Maybe they'd be a better number 2 on a team, but Juju Smith-Schuster was one that I like. I've thought this whole time that he'd be a good fit on the Packers. I think that if they keep MBS,
everybody be a good fit on the Packers,
except Funchess.
He's just hurt on the Packers.
Yeah, no, they just want to keep Aaron mad, so they won't give him any help. They'll draft another quarterback, but Juju, there are a lot of landing spots. The Chicago Bears actually would kind of be a good fit for Juju. He could be a little bit more of that.
I just don't think that's their type of guy.
The Bears, we'll see. They got, again, this could be a totally different offseason where they actually try and get a good quarterback, go for it now, kind of put, and again, you're right, Nagy and Pace, it's now or never. If they don't win this year, it's you know.
What's nice is if you don't give a bunch of assets up and you tank this year as the Bears, like it's a clean house. You know, you rehire everybody at the same time, which is not the worst thing to happen.
Next one on the list after Juju. So Juju, again, I think there are a lot of places that he could fit. He'll get paid. Maybe not that giant contract. The Titans, I don't think they would. I think they could get lesser kind of wide receivers that are more in that Corey Davis range.
Yeah, I don't know if he has the patience to live in Tennessee.
So, speaking of Corey Davis, he's the next guy on the list. Corey Davis had a good year for the Titans. Had a couple games where he disappeared. Got a little injury at the end of the season. Honestly, one of the best fits for him would be the Titans again, but they declined his option before he kind of had his good year.
Right.
So Corey Davis, one that I heard floated was the Ravens. I think that if they could get him, that would help open up Hollywood Brown. That was
it. Just seems like another Willie Snead then. No?
I'm not interested. I don't think on any wide receiver that goes to the Ravens except maybe Kenny Galladay.
No way.
It's a bad landing spot. They
Who's
don't
their quarterback again? Oh yeah, not interested.
Their running back quarterback.
Corey Davis.
Lamar.
Corey Davis to Indy says pocket.
Yeah, Indy could use a wide receiver. T.Y. Hilton's moving on here. He's on the list a little bit farther down.
The problem is they still don't have a quarterback.
Yep. Next one on the list after Corey Davis, we'll talk about Will Fuller. He was a guy that there were rumors that he would go to the Green Bay Packers during the year. They couldn't work out a deal. But
I don't
now
want
that
Will
he's
Fuller
a free agent,
or Juju. I don't care where they land.
I like Juju. I like Fuller less, but he was. If you had him, I had him on one team. He was breaking out. He was having a great fantasy year. Got the PED suspension, so it wasn't an injury that caused him to be out.
If the best ability is availability, and he is not available.
He was available all last year, didn't get injured.
He wasn't available. He got suspended.
Yep, but he's going to miss one game with his suspension next year, I believe, and then he will be back.
But again, if it's not this, it's going to be another thing. I'm not buying in.
The Texans should want him back. If I was also kind of thinking about what are the worst spots, I don't want anybody to go to the Texans if I have them on my fantasy dynasty team.
Honestly, I feel like Will Fuller would fit in. I was going to say Miami, but that's just, I think, an easy answer.
Yeah, Miami will likely draft a wide receiver, but they've got
Will Fuller to the Jags. Why not?
I
Yeah,
think
you have
that-
Shark as kind of like the cross route. You can have Will Fuller just run the go route.
Yeah, and I still think that the Packers are one of the more likely ones for him. He could end up back at the Texans. They could offer him money. They didn't franchise him.
But the thing with the Packers is they just don't pay free agents. That's just not their MO.
They almost paid him in the regular season. We'll see what the price is for Will Fuller.
They
That
only
suspension
pay-
should bring him down.
They only pay for defensive talent. They don't pay for offensive talent.
All right, next one on the list after Will Fuller, we've got Marvin Jones getting up there in age, another Detroit Lion who's going to be on the move. So, yeah, the Lions, that'll be an interesting team to watch to see what they do. If they sign anybody
Will
in
it?
free agency, in
So,
a way it will.
I've been in the Lions subreddit, in and out over the last month or so. They are
Not psyched?
not psyched. I mean, the only thing they were psyched about is Motor City Dan Campbell, just the meathead that he is.
Disappointed!
Again, the only thing they're excited about is basically their whole team is just a giant meme at this point. So if they do really well, it's just going to get so hype and they're going to go off. If they do poorly, they're going to be like, at least we got a coach we can root for, So
Yeah, no, they very much seem to be in rebuild mode. So it's not a bad move for them to dump their, wide receivers, kind of start over
Right.
a little bit.
Pocket says Tua can't throw the ball that far to put Fuller on the team. Right when I thought about Fuller to the Dolphins, I realized that I think he would just look good in the jersey, and I don't think he'd get the ball ever. So I rethought that quickly.
It's all about how do they look in the jersey.
Right.
Nick? That is the number one.
I'm trying to harness my inner Marcy, because I don't think
There
she's
you
in
go.
here right now. So
How handsome is this wide receiver?
exactly. Handsome enough that he needs PEDs. Sounds like TJ and Swifty will have 100 receptions each. That'd be
Marvin
ideal.
Jones is the kind of guy that could end up on the Jets. They got rid of Rashad Perryman. Next one on the list I want to talk about, Curtis Samuel. He's on your dynasty
Marvin
team.
Jones of the Bears.
Marvin Jones, man, he's older. He had a good end of the season there.
He's
but
a solid, reliable number 2 that is inexpensive.
I
He's
think
kind of in the Curtis Samuel category.
He's better for a football team than I think he will be for fantasy this year. I don't think there's any better situation than the Lions.
I'm saying it more as a fan than anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, another comment. So Hawkinson and Swift, both again guys on your dynasty team. They're the only guys with any talent on that team right now, and you imagine that they're going to have to get the ball.
I sure hope so.
A little bit farther down my list, Adrian Peterson, not officially retired yet, so maybe you bring him back.
How far down does your list go?
Oh, it goes down.
Samuel to the Patriots. He can play any spot at the wide receiver position and can run end arounds. But you still have Edelman, who says he wants to come back. I don't think he's signed yet.
There's been some questions about his health. He is old.
But Samuel can't be the number one. N'Keal Harry's not a number one.
Yeah, he's a little bit gimmicky. He's one of those guys that if he made his way to the 49ers, they might be able to use him in creative ways if he went to the Washington football team.
If you want to run with N'Keal Harry, you want to run with Curtis Samuel, you want to run with, what's the other guy? Jacoby Myers. You better have a quarterback that can do something with his feet because you're basically going to turn into the Ravens at that point. So you better have somebody that can run the ball.
Like Cameron Newton?
Not Cam,
he can run
Cam
the ball,
Newton
right?
can't run out of his shadow.
He can run into the end zone and ruin all your running backs on the Patriots.
No.
All right. Going down the list, we'll continue. So after that tier of guys that
We're keeping Cordero. Go ahead.
Okay. Cordero.
He's a team favorite.
Yeah, he's a special teamer. You can't underestimate the special teams.
He's been trying to recruit quarterbacks all offseason. He's probably my favorite player right
He's
now.
a gamer. I like Cordero.
Yeah.
Hicks is the best, but okay. So that was kind of the next tier of just, I think, guys that'll still be fantasy relevant depending on where they land. After that, we've got the old timers, AJ Green, take a drink, and and T.Y. Hilton. Will they be back? Or are they just
They're always tied together, aren't they?
moving down to Boca, get a condo together, play shuffleboard?
Okay, let me
Tell me why AJ Green
to Kansas City.
to Kansas City. No, I'm still not excited.
Really?
Not even a little bit. Like, he's not good. He's old. He's washed. He's done. He's got no feet.
He's the same age as like Travis Kelce.
I don't think there's any situation where I want AJ Green or T.Y. Hilton on even a redraft team, let alone a dynasty team.
Oh man,
AJ Green to retirement. Yeah.
I feel like it's not even my team if I don't have AJ Green on it.
AJ Green and Gronk.
I've lost every year that AJ Green wasn't on my team. That's just a fact.
AJ will be Sammy Watkins 2.0, just injured out. One good game. Like one good game.
Then what's the difference?
I'll give AJ Green one good game next year wherever he ends up. One.
16 targets, 6 receptions.
There you go.
and a touchdown.
Boom.
For 40 yards.
Just had his day. The swan song that you've been calling for all last year.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that.
There you go. You hold on to your AJ.
Yeah. No, I'm not recommending the play to anybody, but
Diamond hand.
and you GME holders out there, what's going on, Mets Rock? Welcome in. You GameStop holders out there.
Stonks through the roof.
Welcome in. Everything's green. Everybody's happy. The people that bought in at $350 aren't happy, but man, we're on our way there to the moon.
Oh, I like that.
AJ Green Bay has to happen at some point. Says
Winning.
Banjo. AJ Green to the Packers.
I would love that. Go ahead, Packers. Sign AJ Green as your giant splash play this offseason.
Okay, well, hear me out. AJ Green plays 16 healthy games. What's his stat line on the Packers?
Maybe 3 catches a game for like 30 yards. Like, being generous.
Okay, I'll take it.
2 touchdowns on the year.
So not quite a Beasley, a half a Beasley.
Cram hole in the floor.
No, much less than a Beasley. Beasley was actually pretty good.
I said half a Beasley.
The Bees.
All right. Who's your next on the
After
list?
the old guys, these
Galladay
are
to Chiefs.
just
That would be awful.
These we won't talk about long, but some guys
Too many-
moving
too
on.
many
Rashard
cooks
Perryman
in
of
the
the
kitchen.
Jets, he's going to be gone, so that makes a space for another kind of burner on that team.
Mims is looking good.
Sammy
for the show.
Watkins, we hardly knew he out of Kansas City,
Gone.
and why that's important is it just kind of opens up
the
those
spot.
targets. Although he didn't play that much this year. Keelan
Yeah.
Cole is interesting. He was had a decent year for the Jags. If they decide to bring him back, he's got Trevor this year. If he goes somewhere else, he can be usable. You could see maybe in that kind of Nelson Aguilar type thing. Fitzgerald likely going to retire, so that'll open up some targets at Arizona.
I thought he was coming back.
Probably.
He's playing.
I haven't heard reports that he's coming
he's
back.
playing.
At this point, you just pay him nothing and have him basically be a coach, I think. Like,
That's fine.
You know, you got to pay a coach more than you can just get
Playing
him.
coach.
Yeah.
He still has the most active catch streak, and he dropped the least amount of passes last year.
He's a monster.
He's
I think
insane.
he's got more tackles than he does
Drops.
as a wide receiver
It's
with
an
a
insane
very
stat.
long career. It's maybe the most impressive stat.
And
in
he's
the
out
NFL.
there 52 years old just catching balls.
Yeah. So I like Fitz. He's a good guy.
Oh, yeah.
Golden Tate, no longer with the Giants. We'll see if he lands somewhere. He has a little bit of juice. Like,
The thing about Tate is he's got talent, And those smaller guys, they don't seem to
Break
rust as
down
bad.
quite as much, but he's a good possession wide receiver.
Honestly, Tate, again, if he gets a cool spot with the Chargers even, or Green Bay again, or like one of the, I'd still buy in.
Yeah, because we talked about Perryman moving on, some good comments. Mims, he was a rookie this year. Didn't quite break out, but he had some flashes. He's a guy that a lot of people are excited about as having a breakout this year or maybe next year.
Right.
The other comment after that was, do we think that the Jets will keep Crowder at the $11 million cap hit? Yeah, I think they will, actually. Crowder was pretty usable for that team. He had a couple injuries, but the games he was in, he was actually...
And you got to have some players. Who are you going to sign for less than $11 million that's better than Crowder?
He was good. He knows the system. People overlook that these guys that have been there, like, they know the system. They've worked with the team. They developed some chemistry, and you can't just get that right away when you sign a new guy.
Well, again, I almost put Crowder in like that Sanu or like Roddy White territory where
that Aguilar, like...
They're a little bit older. They're not really good, but they're consistent. They're solid. They run good routes, and they're reliable.
He had a great start of the fantasy year when Mims was out, and he was healthy, but then he got injured and it all slowed down.
They just need a quarterback.
Agreed. So again, they've got Darnold, if nothing else, and maybe they trade him away, but they've got some draft capital. They've got
It's an easy solution with the Jets. With a good quarterback, I'm interested in the Jets.
Well, they got the second
bad
pick,
quarterback,
so
not interested.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but I don't like the second quarterback. I don't know whoever they choose.
Anybody? None of them. It's Trevor or nothing.
I don't like any of them at 2.
It's the classic Nick system. I want the very best guy and nobody else in the world.
Yeah. Why would
That
you
makes sense.
overpay for the second best guy?
It's hard to get sometimes. Yeah. All right. Other ones, Robinson for Kansas City, also free agent, probably taking off. So we just, if they sign anybody in free agency, if they draft somebody,
are there any targets outside of Kelsey and Hill and the running back?
We haven't seen it yet, but if 2 wide receivers take off, and if they get somebody who can command them more than Mecole Hardman, I think that
I've mentioned before, I don't want anybody outside the top 2 receiving targets for a team. So Kelsey, Hill, I don't want anybody else. I don't care who you put on the roster. You put Chris Godwin on there, I might be out on all 3.
Kelsey and Hill, hard to get. Like,
what do you mean?
Third option, you can go get. You can pick up. You can
go get them because they're not very good.
Yeah, maybe they'll be
I'd
great.
rather take a lower tier name on a worse team.
Last 2, Josh Reynolds for the Rams. If he takes off, Van Jefferson, the rookie, is a guy who went in the second round who I like. That helps him out. Also, Reynolds has showed some flashes of being decent. I don't know if he'll be fantasy relevant, but...
And I don't think Stafford and Goff's play are very similar. So we've seen Kupp and Woods. It may completely change and go a different direction. So
it's a good note.
I don't think it's crazy.
And the other one is Lazard. I did not realize Lazard for the Green Bay Packers was a free agent. They will likely bring him back.
I would think so. You could probably get him cheap. I don't think he's done anything to really make a big name for himself. And how he got into the league is still strange. But again, he had the draft capital thought, at least. He had the projection. And then obviously a lot of things led to his not being drafted. But
Packers suck.
All right.
Again, even on the Packers, though, Lazard wasn't somebody you wanted to throw in there every week.
Well, he did have an injury. He had a core injury in the middle of the year. He was showing a little bit of flash before that. Never really took off, but he could be a little bit of a, you could get him in a late round pick and see if he, becomes the guy if they don't really do anything.
Pocket says Josh Gordon's available. He's catching arena league touchdowns right now.
Josh Gordon
Did you hear that report? He caught the game winner.
He probably did. He's
he did.
good at football.
He 100% caught the game-winning touchdown on a fan-controlled game.
Celebrated.
I think it was his first game.
Celebrated
that he
himself to a positive test, and he's out of the league.
Yeah, a Hail Mary touchdown for the win.
You know what, Josh? I hope all good things for you, buddy.
I mentioned before, Josh Gordon, the one season was
he's talented.
He was something.
He's got the measurables.
When he was a thing, he was really
built
good.
like a truck. I get it. All right, let's go into the running backs. So let's
do it.
We'll go through the list real quick. Top 1, Aaron Jones.
You done messed up, Aaron.
You're Aaron Jones.
My Aaron Jones. I did trade for him last year when I was making a run. I did it with the short-sightedness of I'm trying to win now. He had a soft schedule at the end of the year. Finished as a running back 5 on the year. He averaged, as far as points per game for fantasy and a half-point PPR, averages 6 most points per game. Missed 2 games last year with injury. Also got injured in the playoffs with the chest injury that didn't look like something that should
As a
linger.
biased owner, do you think his production what percentage of his production is skill and what percentage is just his opportunity?
So I think he is skilled. I've heard of comps to Alvin Kamara, but again, it'd be interesting if you swap the two of them, if what they would look like, if
Right.
they'd look like each other or not. I think that Aaron Jones, his production, like his efficiency was really good because of the offense that he was in, because Aaron Rodgers.
He's like a better Jay Ajayi.
His volume, they still used Jamal Williams. They used A.J. Dillon a little bit at the end of the year. I think that the place that I would like to see him go as an owner is to Miami. They've shown that they can use, they'll just give all the work to one guy, even if he's a little bit smaller.
I think his play style just kind of fits the team, what I envisioned the team play style to be.
Yeah, if he landed on the 49ers and he could stay healthy, that's a big 49ers thing. Any guy that's there who becomes the guy and stays healthy, but they've still got a lot of bodies there.
Right. Jones would be a good Steeler. I could see that as well. Jones is actually a pretty decent pass blocker, so he wouldn't be bad with a pure pocket passing quarterback like he's had. I think it would be interesting to see him with a more mobile quarterback to see how they would use him in the game. But I think his strength is really with those pocket passers, the statue guys.
There have been some rumors about Miami being kind of expressing some interest in him, so that's
Right.
where I'm hoping that he ends up. So that's probably the top number one target. After
You're going to
that,
talk about Chris Carson.
I'm
right?
gonna I'm gonna dive into Chris Carson. He's the next one I have on the list.
I knew you were going to talk about
Let me
him.
go over. So
Go
he
ahead.
finished as the running back 18 on the year, missed 4 games. I know Nick said that he missed every single game and he was injured every day, but he only missed 4 games. His average fantasy points per game was 14th among running backs. Chris Carson, not franchised by the Seattle Seahawks. I like him to Buffalo. I think that that'd be a good fit for him. I think they could use his skill set there.
He's injury prone.
And because he would be on Buffalo, that does have Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, and they don't run as much as the Seahawks. He could probably hold up better.
Your numbers are skewed because you're taking games played instead of quarters played. This is like looking at the 49ers be like, oh, Mostert played 14 games. No, he played one quarter of 10 games. He only finished 4 of them. How many quarters did Carson play? Like 8?
I was just outside of that running back 1 as far as average points per game. So even those games he went out, like
Out.
I honestly, if we're being completely honest, I'm also out on Chris Carson this year moving forward. Probably no matter where he lands.
The problem is you still have to pay for him. That's the problem. If
You don't
he's,
have
if
to
he's
pay-
free as a lottery pick,
You don't have
then,
to pay
okay,
elite money. Like you could get him on a 1-year prove it deal and hope that he will sign because the cap
I know
going up.
in Dynasty, he was still traded for a first at the end of the year. Granted, it was Andrew, our league taco.
Oh, we've got some injury prone emotes in the chat there.
Oh, yeah.
Including from Nick, I noticed now.
Yeah,
but
that's me.
Austin Eckler with the injury prone. Oh man, I like Eckler this year.
Eckler got hurt for a year, pretty much. So he was good the year before. I'm not going to base my entire perspective on him on 1 year.
But speaking of the Chargers, that's a team that Chris Carson could go to. He could be a little bit more of the smash. Eckler could be, and maybe the two of them could help
The
their
tandem?
longevity. Yeah, instead of one one-headed monster, you have a
I
two-headed.
feel like Kansas
monster.
City could use a smasher.
Yeah, Kansas
CH
City.
and Chris Carson be a good combo.
So
They don't need the Williams brothers.
Daryl Williams is a free agent and doesn't look like he'll be back. Damian Williams opted out last year. Looks like he probably will come back. And again, I still like Damian Williams. If they sign somebody else,
do.
then I'll be out on Damian Williams. I'll like him much less if they sign Chris Carson. However, if it's CEH and then Williams and then nobody, I like Williams a lot.
Give me a Chris Carson spot, a landing spot that is not Miami, Steelers, or Jets that you would be excited.
Let's see. I think
That's what I thought.
so. Okay, here's the other one. that I'll throw
Banjo.
out.
I
You-
like Carson to Atlanta.
Yeah, he could go to Atlanta. They've shown that they will sign a banged up older guy in Todd Gurley last year. I wouldn't be terribly shocked to know that you're not rooting for it, but if one of these older running backs gets signed to the Lions, I'm not saying Chris Carson per se, but maybe one of these older guys that you
Right.
think are out of juice because they just signed Adrian Peterson. It's a different coach now, but
Yeah, I mean, Swift can't take 100% of the carries. Just
all right, we'll move on from
99%.
Carson. Next one on the list, kind of in that same realm, Kenyon Drake. So Kenyon Drake finished as the running back 14 on the year in half PPR. He only missed 1 full game. He was another one who missed parts of games. And his average though per game as far as running backs was 25th. So,
but who's cheaper, a 4th or 5th round rookie or signing Kenyon Drake? Because there's really no difference to the team. They would rather just reinvest in a cheaper, cost controlled product that they can get off the draft.
yeah, I think that he signed a 1-year prove-it deal, and it didn't work out. He didn't really prove it. But he actually finished the year better than he started. If you stop paying attention, he had a really tough kind of start of the year, picked up some steam at the end, had a couple big plays that kind of skewed his numbers. But Kenyon Drake wouldn't shock me if he re-signed with Arizona.
My only thing is these kind of guys just don't pan out. We look at it every year. I mean, we just got Tevin Coleman, the same kind of deal. They sign their first contract, they come off of it, they're looking for another deal. They still have maybe another year of juice left. But they don't get the money. They don't get the right position. They always go to bad teams. I'd rather invest in younger assets or rookies, honestly, just rerun it myself. But
but they'll still be in the conversation for redraft. It depends on their landing spot.
I don't think so, because I don't think you're going to get week to week, consistent production from any of these.
Well, they could be RB2s, easy. They could finish the RB2, upper RB3 range.
But you're not going to win with RB2s in the league.
But you need them. You need them if you want to win. Like, you're going to need some running back depth. They're not going to go in the first and second rounds of your draft, but you're going to, somebody's going to roster these guys on fantasy teams for sure.
Okay.
And they'll get played.
Let's combine them. Who are the last two? Let's put Drake and Chris Carson. How many top 24 fantasy games will they have next year combined?
Top 24? Let's give them like 5.
Okay.
So not a ton.
Then why are we starting them? Why are we even talking about
Because
them?
you signed Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley because it fell to you that way in an amazing draft, and they both get injured week 2. Like, that's why you need running backs.
Okay, but are we...
Running backs get hurt. You need running backs. People were playing Jeff Wilson. They were playing J.D. McKissick. They were playing
but at that point,
Wayne Gallman.
Right, but that's not projectable. We can't really project
You
that.
can project that some teams will have running backs.
I'm
that get
projecting
hurt.
that these two guys will never be usable again.
If they're in the 6th round, grab these guys. Like,
100% disagree. Give me any of the new rookies coming in, because there's at least a chance they might end up being very, very good. AKA Cam Akers, AKA J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, but there were like 4 of those guys this year. You could also draft the guys that'll go in these range, or like Zach Moss, like, the guys that they played on a team but weren't that good.
I'd rather have
last
Zach
year.
Moss right now than these
That's
two guys.
interesting.
100%.
In a redraft?
Either. Zach Moss will get you 8 to 10 points a week. You can put him in the flex.
If Kenyon re-signs with Arizona, he'll get you that many points.
No, because they're going to sign somebody else.
We'll see. That's why free agents are happening. It's a free agency.
Oh, it's going to happen.
All right, after
It's
that,
gonna happen.
2 more guys that Nick.
Let's see it.
I don't know if you
Let's see
hate Leonard Fournette as much as I do. I might actually dislike Leonard Fournette more than you.
I like Leonard Fournette, the athlete.
Yeah, he showed up in the playoffs. He'll probably get signed somewhere. You wouldn't imagine that he'll get all the work, but
Fournette's one of those guys that if he drops late enough in the draft, I'm going to hate taking him, but I'll do it. I won't want to. It goes against everything I want to put on my roster, but I think he will be a value asset, especially in the right situation.
So let's jump back. Pocket does say Edmonds is better than Drake. They were similar this year. Edmonds wasn't great. There was a report that said, like, oh, we think Edmonds can be a featured back, but they were just trying to put pressure on Kenyon to re-sign for cheap.
I don't think so. I think they're done with Kenyon. I think they'll keep Edmonds. They like Edmonds, and they'll find somebody to pair with him, and they'll just go RBBC.
Okay. I want Drake to go to the Jets, so I'm not tempted to grab him. Yeah, the Jets, we'll see where they're at, if they're really going for it right away or if they're still kind of in a rebuild. They were not good this past year.
If Kenyon Drake was that good, somebody would have signed him to a long-term deal and he'd still be playing football. But he's switched teams 3 times in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, Gase ruined him in Miami. That's where he should have shined.
Again, these assets aren't reliable.
He hit his light under
in the
a bushel.
short or long term. And for some reason, I feel like they always get hurt. These guys that move teams a lot, they always get hurt.
They do get hurt.
All the time.
All right, next one up, we've got James Conner. Tell us why you hate James Conner, and he'll never be good ever again.
Because he's James Conner.
All right. No, his numbers I actually dove into. He was the 28th running back on the year and finished 30 as far as average points per game. Missed 3 full games, as always one of those, like, is he hurt, is he not hurt, is he playing, is he not playing?
If you hate OBJ, you have to hate James Conner.
I liked James Conner a lot more before this year, and now I don't. Now I'm out. I'm finally caught up to you.
What about you, Greg? You still in here?
He's a guy that could go to the Falcons, though. He could end up as a depth piece.
Greg tried to challenge me when we were getting our preseason stuff.
The challenge was that you said that James Conner was never good, and the first year that he played, when you picked him up for nothing, he won leagues because he was very, very good, and made it so that Lev never became a thing.
He had a lot of points in some small stretches. He never had good seasons.
Huge.
Bear Fan Paul, welcome in.
Great season that he had.
Disagree.
You are fake news.
Falcons will sign Lev Bell or LaShawn McCoy because they're morons.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
No, I think LaShawn, it could be the last year for him. But Lev Bell is a guy, he will likely get signed somewhere.
Will LaShawn get a meme deal where since he won a Super Bowl on the last two teams he was on back to back, does he just get
a lucky charm that they signed?
Right. Is he the rabbit foot deal?
Maybe.
I think he was asking for that on Twitter.
But he's a guy that if you had him in your running back room, he might be able to give some pointers to the young rookie, and it's not bad to have those guys.
LaShawn McCoy wasn't undervalued. He's kind of in the Keenan Allen territory, I'd say. LaShawn McCoy was a very good football player for a long time.
I remember when he was going high when I started playing. All right, so that's kind of the first tier of guys. After that, James White, I'll just mention him. I think that if Tom decides he likes him and he brings him over to the Buccaneers, he'll have some value. If he goes anywhere else, he's an older guy. He's not real banged up. Probably the next best spot would be if he re-signed with the Patriots and maybe they bring in a guy who doesn't run like Cam and checks it down. Other than that,
James White won't be on my team, but I'd be an idiot to knock him. Because
James White has just had year after year of 10 points a game.
I can't knock him.
And that's a useful guy to have.
He's like hating on Beasley. There's just no reason.
Just a savvy
There's
bet.
just no reason for it.
Another guy who's interesting, Mike Davis. So had a great year in relief of the injured Christian McCaffrey. Get well soon, Christian. We're praying for you.
You are.
Yeah, and Mike Davis, I think the best case scenario for him would be to come back to him, re-sign. They didn't, tag him or anything like that, but just continue to be that backup.
Yeah, I think that's his only path to
the only thing is
fantasy relevancy.
He may have shown enough that someone somewhere else will offer him a little more money.
He already got deals from the Bears, and he was getting
played for the Bears, got cut, and now I actually wish that it was him there, not Cohen.
The Cohen hate begins.
I do hate Cohen. What does Andy on the footballers think?
Cohen sucked.
I agree, Andy.
There it is.
Thank you for that insight.
There it is.
So moving on.
Yes.
Mike Davis. Then we have Philip Lindsay. He'll likely re-sign with Denver. Melvin Gordon's going to miss, 3 games for a DUI suspension. So Philip should be the guy for that.
So Philip Lindsay's an interesting one because here's the thing. Mike Davis, Chris Carson, they're always hurt and they suck. Lindsay at least is just small and undersized. That's his knock, but he's good at football. Mm-hmm. So same thing. If he gets in the right spot, let's see. Bears. Montgomery and Philip Lindsay. That's a combo I like.
Go Bears!
I like Lindsay more than I like Cohen.
Oh, yeah.
Cohen sucked.
See? Love for the drop. Bears fans know he just runs the wrong way.
Lindsay to the Titans?
Nice guy, but Cohen's not good for football. Not on the Bears. What's that?
Lindsay to the Titans? Lindsay to the 49ers?
Again, the Titans, they drafted Darrington Evans, so they've got their backup. I don't think they need a guy. They're just going to go with I always stumble on his name. Henry. There we go.
There you go.
I want to say Hunter Henry because I'm thinking of him for the tight end free agents.
Oh, there we go.
That's right. I got a lot going on here. A lot going on.
Yep, it's working.
After Philip Lindsay.
Up here, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It's my birthday.
That's
Happy
right.
birthday,
That's
Nick.
it. I'm just dreaming of
if
going.
If you're just joining us, Nikki's birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I am the gift.
The stocks got me a gift today. I mean,
there you go.
Everything's
coming
great.
up, Nikki.
That's right.
So moving back, Jamal Williams was the next guy who's kind of in that tier of if this is kind of my guys that if the things go just right for them, they could be still fantasy relevant. Jamal Williams, best case scenario, Aaron Jones takes off. They re-sign him. It's him and A.J. Dillon. They share that backfield.
I think Jamal Williams is a fine football player.
But he is a free agent. He could go somewhere, and if he's just given some more work, I like Jamal Williams as a guy who might have sneaky value who you could buy for cheap.
I think he's got more real-life football value than fancy value, but who knows?
I would say there's a 75% chance that's correct, but if the cards fell just right, maybe he's a guy who could get some play.
And he doesn't get hurt very often except for concussions.
The thing about Jamal Williams also is if he starts off on a good foot, I might trade him in a dynasty pretty quickly or even in redraft if he... Next on the list, we've got the old guys club. So these guys can go join T.Y. and A.J. Green down in their retirement flat. Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, Mark Ingram, and I even threw Adrian Peterson in there, who is markedly older.
Over under 0.5 guys finishing in the top 15 next year.
I would be shocked if any of these guys finish in the top 15. if anybody could do it, it would be Gurley coming out surprising people that he just kind of his knee gets right and he lands somewhere.
These are the guys where if you're on the good teams, if your running back goes down at the beginning of the year, you can sign these guys and they will have value.
Yeah.
You're not going to draft some of these guys, but pay attention to the waivers because they could be available there like at the beginning of the season. Pocket, did Mark Ingram have a team? He is not on a team right now. I don't.
No, not yet. So again, all of these guys are free agents as of right now. It is the free agency fix show.
There you go.
For the fellow addicts.
Sohan wants to know thoughts on Patriots Trent Brown move. We actually just read that just before we went live. I think it's a great move.
Yeah, anytime you can pick up a lineman, when the Patriots make moves, you just believe in it because they've got a good track record of making good calls.
And again, they don't make moves that are like, oh my goodness, but they make subtle moves for very good football players. And then you're like, how are they good? Oh, they're just freaking stacked. That's why.
So I just wanted to finish the thought. So Todd Gurley is only 26 years old. That's something
Seriously?
that, like, yeah, if you watch him, he looked older, he felt older.
Yeah.
But another savvy move I saw, let me jump back and did you see the one about the Miami Dolphins picking up the first round offensive lineman?
Yeah, from the
who
Titans.
Didn't work out for the Titans for like a 7th swap.
But that's a mess.
Not into that guy, but if you can get a first rounder for a 7th pick, like just take the chance, don't you think?
Yeah, but I'm not going to plan on that being a thing.
Right.
I'm not going to upgrade the team because of that. It's a guy that doesn't want to play football and is already guaranteed on his contract, so he's just hanging out.
But if he comes back and they can motivate him, could look like geniuses.
We're all the San Francisco running backs still signed. Mostert, Wilson, Coleman, Thompson.
So let's see.
I think Mostert's gone.
So just
that
a
right?
note on the old guys. If any of these guys sign anywhere, I'm less excited about them. I'm just more concerned about the guy who's in front of them. Tevin Coleman is the next on the list. I believe you still have Tevin in
He's on my
Dynasty. I know that you're not real high on him.
It's just because the waivers are so rough that I made a bad trade at the time.
Well, you
Actually,
got other
worked,
pieces that you
no,
liked.
it worked out, but I can't spite drop him yet. He has to stay on the roster a little bit longer.
Yeah, you could at least see where he lands.
For sure.
If or when. Tevin Coleman and also Jerick McKinnon will both be off the team, so they will still have Mostert and Wilson are signed.
Greg's an owner.
There
So
you go.
I think Wilson's I see Wilson floated around as a really good buy low option because I think obviously with Mostert's injury history of playing a quarter a game where he gets like 25 points in that quarter, I'll have you.
Yeah, and Mostert
Wilson has performed.
again. He looked good when he was out there. He was just injured often.
He's the best kid alive.
Very
The
quick.
49ers for the running back, even on my own roster, it's next man up.
Yeah.
If I know who they're going to be starting, I don't mind throwing him in the roster. I don't care how obscure the name is. You can throw him in there. If you threw Todd Gurley in there, I'd start him. I mean, I don't care.
Winning.
Frank Gore, you bring Frank Gore back and throw him in there. I'll
Yeah,
start him.
we got to
I
see
don't
where
care.
Gore lands. I didn't have him on my list of the old guys. Adrian
Yeah.
Peterson going to retire probably.
If he goes to the 49ers,
But
I'll start him.
Again, any of these guys can
I mean-
land on the Lions. Wouldn't shock me. Just a cheap, hey, let's
For
bring
sure.
him in. He can kind of help mentor Swift and ruin his fantasy value. Duke Johnson taken off from the Texans. They did re-sign David Johnson. So, hey, one Johnson better than none.
David Johnson might have some
Duke.
okay value.
David, yeah, okay. Duke, he just hasn't
Duke.
become a thing. He's signed for some money in a couple places.
Dude's kind of like Mike Davis. He's a very
Yeah,
good utility
a
guy.
journeyman.
He's consistent. Teams want them, but they don't want to play him.
So here's an interesting name. Will Marlon Mack have any kind of bounce back, or is it just done? Is he like a Lamar Miller, where maybe somebody gets him on a practice squad and he just never returns to dominance?
They had like a statistic that running backs that tore their ACL with whatever thing that Mack had, I think 2 out of 1,000 like ever had a or running back 2 season. So it's pretty much done.
Yeah, Pocket points out that Jeff Wilson was dominating when he played for the 49ers, but Matt Breida was good for the 49ers, and he couldn't,
the 49ers.
couldn't make the Dolphins, couldn't beat out...
Again, it's the system. 100%. It's the system.
There you go. I agree.
Easy.
Let me look up Marlon Mack's age, because it was also lower than I realized. He had 1,000-yard rushing seasons.
I'm going to save everybody the hassle just right off Marlon Mack from the get-go.
Marlon Mack's 25. If you just need a speculative ad on a dynasty team, you can see if he becomes a thing.
Again,
Or you could try to trade him.
they had this whole analysis on the Reddits.
Why he's
I
never
trust the
gonna be good.
Reddits. They never lie to me. And it was like a 0.003%
That's
chance
how he
he's ever
became
worth
a
anything.
stonks millionaire buying the GameStops.
Yeah.
All right, last couple on the list. Malcolm Brown for the Rams, I believe, is a free agent. So if he takes off, it just one less guy to take away carries from Akers and Darrell Henderson. And the other one is Darrell Williams for Kansas City taking off. So that completes the running back free agents that are worth note. Tight ends will run through quickly. Hunter Henry, the Chargers do not franchise tag him. He will land somewhere. He's had a lot of injury history, but stayed healthy this past year. Was actually pretty good. Usable tight end. We'll see where he lands.
He goes to like the Colts. I'm in.
The Colts would be a good fit. The Patriots is one I heard floated.
Actually, the Colts with Carson only throwing to the tight end Wentz. I mean, it's not the worst idea.
Tyler Eifert going to be taken off from Jacksonville, so we'll see if they have a younger guy
on to Cincinnati.
His name escapes me now. He didn't get a lot of opportunity, but they will probably bring in a tight end. Was the report? No, not O'Shaughnessy. He's got. I'll think about it.
Okay.
After Bryant. So the guy that I'm more excited than Eifert is Jonnu Smith. He's another one that I know Bill Belichick likes as a player, likes his athletic ability. He's one that if he gets a good landing spot, I really like Jonnu going forward. Cook for the Saints is taken off, so I think it's Troutman is the rookie from this past year. Is behind him will probably get opportunity. Cook likely retires. He's an older guy. Everett taken off from the Rams. He had good games when Higbee was out. Higbee had good games when Everett was out. So them being on different teams, if they can kind of be the primary, I like both of them a lot better this year. And the last one I put on there, who was not a free agent, but Ertz, there have been rumors about him getting traded. Again,
that's another one I've heard to the Colts, obviously.
He went from being so good to just bad. And do you blame Ertz or do you blame the Eagles? We love to blame the Eagles because they're terrible.
The Eagles don't know what they're doing.
So again, we'll see where he ends up. The Bears was one that we heard. I like him better than I like the Ingram ad. Patriots, he's got that kind of feel of like an older, savvier guy that they could work into a system.
By the way, a quick side note for another non-free agent. Noah Fant is just not talked about at all. If you need a tight end in Dynasty and you got a little bit of trade asset, Noah Fant is probably the cheapest elite talent that you can afford right now.
We need more dogs.
Yeah, no, he had good years. He had injuries this past year that kind of held him back. The Broncos, their offense wasn't real high flying, but Curtis Samuel should be back. They might have a new quarterback going forward.
But even with a pretty subpar quarterback performance from Drew Lock, even though his favorite target was Font when he was healthy, Font's good. I would buy him in a second.
I agree. I like Font.
Just a sidebar.
Fant.
No, Fant.
Fanta.
Yeah.
All right. Next up on the list, we're going to go. So that was the tight ends that I had. Any other tight ends that come to mind for you?
Nope, I don't even like talking about tight ends.
We'll see if Drew Sample, if they bring in anybody.
Are we on the quarterbacks
him and Uzama. Wait for the Uzama resurgence. I'll be if there's a flicker, I'll be there to tell you.
Take a drink.
So now we're talking about the quarterbacks.
Oh, thank God.
Yep, AJ Green.
Yeah. Don't let Nick make you start saying Font wrong.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Is he on your team, Greg? I can't remember. I feel like he's on your team, but I could be wrong. I'd take him. I'll take him.
He is not.
I already have Hawk, but
Greg's got Tunyon for the Green Bay.
Tunyon.
Tunyon.
Both?
Fant.
Foghorn?
QBs.
Flugelhorn?
Dak. The Dak attack is back.
Dak signed.
The Dallas Cowboys
There you go.
close in on a $160 million deal for 4 years with Dak, one-leg Prescott.
So
hobble into that money. Hobble into the bank.
I saw the meme posted where Amari Cooper highest paid, Zeke highest paid, Dak highest paid for, what was it, 9 and 8?
Yeah.
At least somebody updated it for the 17-game season. I got to give them at least enough foresight to add the 17th game in there.
I think I actually stole that from a text that Greg sent to me and threw it in our Discord.
I mean, whoever made it, bravo.
If you're not a member of the Discord, Nick can throw the link up there where we just kind of chat with each other. Share the memes, share the breaking news. A lot of news breaking today because of the free agency deadline.
Tell me if I'm wrong,
or not
though.
the franchise tag deadline.
I think you can get all three of those players at a lower ADP than where they will finish the season. I think they're all on a discount right now for the same reason, Dak being out.
I think that Amari and CD are going to shoot up. I think that of the three of them,
Murray?
No.
CeeDee Lamb?
No.
Gallup?
Gallup's the one who he'll still be a little bit lower, but he'll go up from where he was knowing that Dak's going to be back.
I've heard rumors of Gallup being traded as well.
They're all better than DiNucci. The new
Bears signed the red rifle. That would be interesting.
Don't like that. Don't like that.
You can't just post that with no sources. It makes my
You are so
start
dumb.
getting squeamish.
You are really dumb.
I'd actually be not too upset about it because
Faking him out with a decoy.
that means, Pace and Nagy are gone.
No. Hard pass.
Just clean house.
Hard pass.
Not up in here.
And Andy Dalton throws a watchable
Chicago
football.
doesn't do redheads.
Here's the thing. I think you're going to get Zeke probably around RB 7, 8, 9, and I think he finishes top 5 or 6. Amari Cooper is going to go wide receiver 15 to 20, and I think he finishes top 12. And I think you can get Dak as quarterback 8, 9, 10, and he's going to finish top 5. So I think you can get them all cheaper than where they're going.
It'll be interesting to see kind of how Dak's progressing with his ankle. I think that he could go higher than that, depending on if you got some Cowboys fans. America's team.
I don't think they're going to trust him coming off the injury.
Amari, I think that, in that 12
In
range. And Zeke, I was out on Zeke. A lot of concerns, but I think Dak being there definitely does help him. He was a lot
Zeke
better
hate's
this
almost
previous.
going too far,
That's swinging back if Dak's there, if things start coming together.
You hating on Zeke is not
just me.
It's not. It's not just you, for sure.
But again, a lot of that stemmed from watching him at the end of the season. He just looked like he lost a step. And again, there was rumors that he might have little injuries and things like that. And one of Zeke's big draws is that he's just been able to power through a lot of things, stay healthy, and he might just be getting to that point where he's got a couple more miles. He's getting a little older.
Or is it the season was lost and they were just managing his time? I think
it wasn't lost as part of it, though. They were still competing for a playoff spot, and Zeke looked like he was giving zero effort. I get it, but they were, technically in it.
Cowboys will finish third in the division next year. I don't care what they finish as long as they score 32 points per game.
Missed it
If they average 30 points per game or more, I don't care what the record is.
They were phenomenal for fantasy at the start of the year.
And I'll
when Dak
watch
was
it.
there.
I'll watch them go 0-16, losing
course
35 to 40 games.
Yeah, it's fun to watch teams with bad defenses, and that'll be interesting too. Watch the NFL draft and see if they do anything to help their defense. Because if they don't,
I'm all in.
Full speed ahead. Yeah, to the moon.
Just all in. Oh man.
All right. After Dak, so that one's finished off. The guys that are available, Cam Newton, we'll see where he lands. I could see him going nowhere. I could see him being back on the Patriots. I don't like Cam. I don't want Cam. I think you just saw that he couldn't throw this year.
1-day contract with the Carolina Panthers.
And now a guy who's all throw, Jameis Winston. If the Bears can't sign one of the top end guys, let's get Jameis. Let's just throw. Let's try. Let's move the ball.
Canadian.
Let the defense take care of the turnovers.
I agree. If you have a stud defense, why not utilize them?
It's just, you signed your wide receiver. Let's air it out. Some people are like, let's just let the defense win and play slow. Hasn't worked. I want an offense. I want to throw. I want to go.
You're right. I don't care if they throw 50 picks. As long as somebody's catching a ball.
Air it out.
Somebody's going to score a touchdown.
We could definitely regret this.
How did we lose 2 followers while we were live today? Did you
probably
notice that?
just
we went
because we
from
were
218
saying
to
we wanted
216.
Jameis to come and start the high-powered Bears offense.
Man.
Speaking of guys on the Bears who can throw interceptions,
Big Mama's handing out biscuits, baby.
Mitchell Trubisky,
The freest of
free
agents.
agent, like a bird. We're letting him fly away. And I think that the best spot that I could think of for him would be backing up Josh Allen in Buffalo. I think that they have a similar kind of run and gun. They were able to help him get his accuracy under control. That's been a problem for Mitch.
Yeah. Mitch is going to be a very capable backup quarterback, and I think he is going to find his footing as the backup quarterback and
Canadian
not doing
Football
much
League
work
for
and
Mitch.
enjoying his time in the NFL.
We'll be happy to watch you in Toronto.
I think Mitch has played it perfectly. He was good enough to be rostered, but not good enough to start. I mean, it's kind of the nice middle. He'll make $10 to $12 million a year, holding a clipboard, and that's the life. That's the dream.
No, and he seemed like a good, good attitude, just a happy-go-lucky kid, wet behind the ears. We'll see what happens.
I wish him the best.
I hope he gets a starting job and airs it out so that I can hit the
Big Mama's handing out biscuits, baby.
no biscuits drop. Passing them out to everybody. Fitzmagic, there were rumors of him retiring. The rumors seem to be greatly exaggerated. Somebody's like, he's going to retire. And Fitz comes out and says, not today, baby.
Nope, not going to happen.
Puts on the gold chain, gets the chest hair out, and goes signs, throws for 1,000,000 yards, and hopefully takes the Bears to the Super Bowl once we don't get Watson or Wilson.
Again, if he goes to the Broncos, I like the Broncos even more. If he goes to Houston, I'm okay with Will Fuller and Cooks again. I mean, he covers a lot of issues on offense. And the best thing about Fitzmagic is he's not afraid to just chuck it. I mean, it's like an older Jameis Winston. If the window is a little bit open, if it's a little bit cracked, he's just letting it go.
Yeah, again, it's
I
kind of the
admire that.
same thing. The Fitz magic, the Jameis Winston. If they go to the Bears, we want somebody who'll air it out. Who can throw.
On our way to the dumpster.
Getting that garbage time.
Yeah.
I just can't watch an offense that can't move ever
Again.
and going to score 3 points. I can't do it.
Same thing with the Cowboys.
I don't like it.
If we lose every game 32-40, okay.
It'd be nice to win.
Okay. It would be nice to win.
All
I'm
right.
not saying it's optimal.
Next one, the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton. I don't like him. I don't want him on the Bears. He's not exciting.
Can we consider Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson free agents?
Make him a backup? Even if they wanted to re-sign him as a backup on the Cowboys, I don't hate it. But he's probably going to get a better deal than that.
I mean, he didn't this last offseason.
I'll say he doesn't sign anywhere. I don't think he starts the season as a starter.
Okay.
Alex Smith, that's another guy. Nagy's got some history with him. Maybe the Bears.
Nobody's going to sign Alex Smith.
Coming off that big injury, we're glad he
If
came
you're the team
back.
that signs him and then he hurts his leg again, you're done.
Yeah.
PR nightmare.
I'm out. And then the guys, these are not free agents, but are kind of the rumors swirling about their being traded. Watson, unhappy with the Texans, as is every Texan fan.
Yep. And Texan.
Russell Wilson saying that there are a couple spots he would consider a trade to. Sounds like that's the one that the Bears are going hard for. It would leave him with some bad cap situation in Seattle, but
How much do you believe in Vegas odds?
depends on what we're talking about. But
Because they're pretty freaking good.
the guys that have money on the line, they do their homework.
So the Seahawks started out at like minus 300 favorites, and then the next one's in line. It was like, I think Raiders, then Saints, and then it was the Bears. I can't remember what the fourth team was. Now Bears are favored right behind the Seahawks. So
Yeah, I'm gonna get one for show.
Seahawks are
For
minus
show.
500,
I'm
which is still the
getting
heavy
that for
favorite.
show.
But Bears plus 300. Next up. Derek Carr said the Raiders should try to.
Derek's a smart guy.
I like that pocket. Cowboys were the fourth team. Yep. So Cowboys re-signed Dak. Carr, they've been talking nothing about good things about Carr and trying to sign him longer term. And what were the other teams I talked about? The Saints. They can't afford him. It's just not going to be a thing. So
Sometimes those teams can move things around and figure out a way, but
right. So
the Saints are in like the
it seems
worst
like the
situation as far as their cap
Saints are
space.
$1 billion. So Jimmy
Garoppolo.
Yeah, to New York maybe. Saints are $1 billion over the cap. So the Saints reduced Breeze's contract by $24 million and saved another like $20 million elsewhere, and they were still $61 million over the cap.
Yeah, so let's talk about
Just a
Garoppolo.
crazy amount.
So he has a history. Started out with the Patriots, got traded away, and Bill Belichick seemed to like him.
Bill Belichick.
And then he kind of got forced out by Tom. Didn't like him breathing down his neck.
I'd rather have Mitchell Trubisky.
If he was going to have success somewhere, you would imagine that it would be on the Patriots. The other guy I like if he ended up on the Patriots is Sam Darnold, the quarterback for the Jets at the moment. Sounds like they're shopping him. They want to get rid of him. They're probably going to take a quarterback in the draft. Whichever one they do take, it'll be the wrong one. So we talked about Fields, the quarterback,
Justin Fields,
who's a
Ohio.
lot of people have going second off the board in the NFL draft, coming from Ohio State. And I went back because we were talking about like what good quarterbacks have come out of Ohio State. Terrell Pryor, I think, was like the one that
the wide receiver Terrell Pryor.
Yeah, they do not have a great history of producing fabulous NFL quarterbacks.
Alabama doesn't either, as of late.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Tua. We'll give him more time. He had 1 year. He started injured.
But he hasn't been good.
Tua equals ham sandwich.
Remember the whole tank for Tua thing?
Yeah, I give him time.
Okay.
So Tua's another one. If they did some kind of trade for Watson, Miami's the one that has the draft capital. Maybe get something
Anyone
done.
with initials TP can't be good, says Pocket.
Tom Petty. Ooh. There you go. Didn't
Can't
play
argue with the
football.
man.
Hey, that was quick. The next one,
Nailed
Teddy
it.
Bridgewater. So TB, not the Brady,
Different.
but if the Panthers take a quarterback in the draft, I imagine that they keep him around. I think he's got a 3-year contract.
Bridgewater wants out.
Does he want out?
I think he's already said it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor's another name that's out there. He'll end up somewhere. Again, I don't think he'll get a start job.
He just won't go away.
There are quarterbacks floating
No
around if
rookies.
you're looking. Sam Darnold, if you went to the Bears, they're just not great at developing quarterbacks historically. But I do like his talent more
I've
than
seen
some
a
of the
lot
other
of people.
guys.
They're like, I've seen hype around Sam Darnold to the Bears, but they're like, trust us, Sam Darnold's bad. I'm like,
all right.
Okay. I guess I'll believe you.
I don't know if we've seen his ceiling again. I would be a lot more optimistic about his.
I feel like the way we feel about Sam Darnold is the way
they feel
Codes
about
felt
Mitch.
about Carson Wentz.
Okay. It's like a lot of those teams, like golf, probably the same boat. Like,
Yeah.
if you've been on a team and you're watching these guys and they're not winning and you
Right.
watch every play, you get down on them maybe more than kind of the people that aren't
And then
watching
you hear the
quite as
whisper,
closely.
he's actually bad. He's really bad.
I'm sure there are teams that would look at Mitch and be like, "Hey, he can run. They just didn't use him well."
Made the
You
playoffs
know.
2 out of 3 years.
Yeah, we've been hard on Mitch, but
The case can be made for Mitch. I'm just not going to make it.
Yeah.
Are the Vikings set on Cousins? There's no.
yeah, they've got Cousins. That's going to be their guy.
Regardless how you feel about Cousins, he's still a top 12 quarterback.
He does what they need him to do. And again, he actually had a good year as far as kind of fantasy and actual NFL. Really, their problem was on defense. They'll probably draft an edge rusher.
Right.
Daniel.
Kirk Cousins the same as
Got hurt.
Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz, Rivers. They're good enough to get you into the playoffs and probably win you a couple games, but they're not going to win you a Super Bowl most likely unless your defense is just stellar. So you have to settle for good, watchable football, and you'll be competitive. But I don't think they're going to win anything.
All right, that's the whole list I got.
All
Anybody
right.
else?
Any questions before we wrap it up? Look at that. An hour on the dot.
All
What a
right.
good job.
If you haven't subscribed on Twitch or you haven't hit that follow on YouTube, do it for Nikki's birthday.
Do it for me.
All right.
We should have led with that.
Oh, hey,
We
we'll
lost
close it.
followers because of my birthday. No,
Oh,
man.
This old guy.
We should have
What does
capitalized.
he know?
I know. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. My B-Day is Saturday, says Pocket. Well, happy early birthday, Pocket.
Just parties everywhere.
There we go. It's just, it's a birthday house.
This
Birthday
year's
stream.
turning around.
I know. And the new Apex update today.
Oh, God. It gets better and better.
Every single minute.
And we will be back Tuesday night next week, also broadcasting. So we'll know a little bit more about
Heading to Four Winds, New Buffalo. Enjoy that, Pocket. Just going to little weekend away. Be nice.
better than Old Buffalo.
For sure.
All right.
Kings Canyon. That's right.
Take
After
it easy,
dark.
buddy. Everybody, happy birthday. And if you have a birthday, happy birthday to you.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Job's done.
See ya.